Hey Theater Geeks, I'm Emily and welcome to Musical Mondays. In this final edition of my Tony predictions for 2015, let's talk about Best Direction, Best Revival, and Best New Production. Let's get things started with Best Direction of a Play. In this category, we have Stephen Daldry for Skylight, Marianne Elliott for The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, Scott Ellis for You Can't Take It With You, Jerry Heron for Wolf Hall Parts 1 and 2, and Moritz von Stuelpnagel for Hand to God. As in many of the categories this year, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime is the one to beat here, which I'm really excited about. I think Marianne Elliott did a beautiful job with the staging of this play, and it's definitely a deserved award. Moving on to Best Direction of a Musical, we have Scott Gold for Fun Home, Casey Nicholaw for Something Rotten, John Rando for On the Town, Bartlett Shear for The King and I, and Christopher Wheeldon for An American in Paris. This is another one of those categories where it's gonna be Fun Home or it's gonna be An American in Paris. However, there's a slight majority going for Fun Home in this category, and so of course I'm going to be on the Fun Home side. You guys know that by now. Fun Home takes all the awards in my book. Moving on to the biggest awards of the night, let's start with the Best Revival of a Play. In this category, we have The Elephant Man, Skylight, This Is Our Youth, and You Can't Take It With You. Something interesting that happened in this category is that This Is Our Youth's only nomination is for Best Revival of a Play, which is odd because Best Revival of a Play means it's the best overall production revival. And there are other plays that were revivals that got some other nominations. However, This Is Our Youth is being considered for the best overall production, but it didn't have some of the best elements. However, it's not gonna win the Tony. This is a clear race between The Elephant Man and Skylight, with a few people saying You Can't Take It With You thrown in there. However, Skylight has a bit of an edge from what I've seen, and it's still running, which Tony voters like. Tony voters like plays that are still running, so I think this one's gonna go Skylight. Moving on to Best Revival of a Musical, in this category we have The King and I, On the Town, and On the 20th Century. So between these three, it's overwhelmingly people are saying The King and I is going to get it. Based on what I've seen of King and I, it definitely deserves the award, and everyone is saying King and I is gonna take this category. On to Best Play. The interesting thing about the Best Play award is this award is not only shared by the producers of the play, but also the author. So keep that in mind while we're going through these nominees. We have The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, Disgraced, Hand to God, and Wolf Hall Parts 1 and 2. So as in many categories this year, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime is going to take this category. It was definitely the best new play in terms of script and in terms of production. It has a beautiful, complex story that's told in an interesting and new way, and it's told not only in an interesting and new way through dialogue, it's told in an interesting and new way through sound and movement and lights and just everything. So it's gonna take this category. And on to the biggest category of the night, Best Musical. In this category, we have An American in Paris, Fun Home, Something Rotten, and The Visit. Now, as in most other categories this year, we've got a race between An American in Paris and Fun Home. And it's a pretty even split from what I've seen, but from what I've seen also, Fun Home has a little bit of an edge, and you know me, I'm gonna go Fun Home every time. I think it's the best new musical this year. I love all four shows in this category. The Visit's the one I know the least about, but from what I've heard and what I've seen, it's a beautiful show. But Fun Home won my heart this year, and I think it probably won the heart of the Tony voters. So those were my Tony Awards predictions this year. Those are just my opinions. Leave your opinions down in the comments below. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe for more Musical Mondays.